So welcome to Monkey and Frank. My name is Do. My body's Dom, and Lauren is back to have a conversation. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? I'm happy to be back.
Same here. Same here. So I've got a lot of questions. First of all, you said that you're going back to ayahuasca, like in
I
July.
am.
What made you want to go?
I have been feeling so called to work with ayahuasca lately, and she she kind of like came into a few of my meditations and she said like the invitation is there. It's not urgent, but like the invitation is there when you feel called or when you feel ready. And just the other day, it was like it just popped into my head that I had to be there on 7721. So July 7th, I was like, I don't know why 7721 is just one of like my biggest angel numbers. And I was like, I need to be in Peru at that time. And I kept feeling just like I wanted to go home. Like the Amazon is probably the place I felt most at home like my entire life. And it was just kind of like this breakdown the other day where I was like, I need to go back. Um, and I do feel called to work with ayahuasca at this time, but it's also just being back in the Amazon and in that like energy. And so I booked it today and I'm so pumped.
That's amazing. Like, are the states like what are the rules in the states? Like, are you guys able to travel back and then come back and just do a test when you come back and then go home and do like a self-quarantine? How does it work there?
So I still have to look into the quarantining rules, but I know the Peru's borders are open for
Yeah.
US citizens. And I have a friend that's actually there right now and she's going to Ecuador after. So I know Ecuador's borders are open as well. I know you need to take a test or a COVID like test within like 72 hours of going to Peru, and it has to be like a negative result, and you have to like
Yeah.
carry that result with you. And
What
I'm pretty
about
sure you have
coming
to
back?
take. I still have to do more research into that. I think you might have to take one when you get back and then self quarantine, but I'm not 100% positive.
Us, Canada, man, they're insane. Like they want us to do a test for it to return negative before boarding the plane. And
Mm.
then another test when you get to the here, but you cannot go back home. You have to go to a hotel that they like prescribed, and it's super expensive. And a lot of people have been coming out with like bills of like $2,000 just for traveling, like on top of uh,
Oh my gosh.
these restrictions. They're insane, man. They're insane.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be back in the jungle as soon as they stop being so insane.
Yeah.
Oh man, I hear you. What kind of dreams? Like, how do you see mother in your dreams? Like, does she have a form or is just like a message?
So I honestly I don't have that many dreams where ayahuasca comes out. Well, no, I've had a few. And usually it's like I'm in the Amazon and I can just hear her voice. Um, it's like a very like beautiful woman's voice. But sometimes I'll see like the serpent, which is definitely ayahuasca for me. That's kind of like how she shows up. Sometimes she'll show up as like a tarantula also.
Nice.
Um, but usually in my dreams, it's not so much ayahuasca, but when I'm doing like shamanic journeys or just meditating, like I can hear her or I'll see her like in her different forms, or I can just feel her energy come in, especially if I'm working on clients. I can feel her like come in and kind of like assist in like my healing sessions.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That is so cool. And are you still sober?
Um, so I did my year of sobriety and then I was like, well, maybe I can go back to like drinking occasionally. And I had like one glass of wine and I thought I was gonna puke. Like it was like my body just rejected it. And
But
I yeah, it was really weird. And I was like, well, maybe it's just wine, you know. So I tried like again and I had like a drink with tequila in it, and again like my body just felt awful. And so I just kind of took it as a message like that chapter of my life is done, and like I'm not saying I'll never drink again, but at this time I still feel like it's not not something that I need in my life. It's not necessarily good for me. It's not like helping me gain anything. So I don't really want to use alcohol. I have started working with marijuana again, and that has been amazing. Like,
That's
I
the one
think,
I'm talking about. Like I thought I meant more like in that
yeah,
direction. Because cannabis is so amazing, but at the same time, like I would want to do it all the time. How do you like
yeah,
how do you
um,
control it? Are you able to manage it like just a couple of days here and there or
yeah. Honestly, like after, like, I think when I was like 17 or 18, I was really abusing cannabis, where I was smoking like almost 2 ounces a week. um, which is a lot for me, I guess. And honestly, like after like my first ayahuasca experiences, I was like, okay, like I'm not using this as a plant medicine anymore. That's just numbing. And after that, it was like so much more manageable. I never felt like addicted to cannabis after that. And now, like, I've just been using it, especially at night, because I kind of feel like almost useless if I use it during the day. Like,
yes,
I really just want to be like
laying down?
laying down, focusing on my body, like being like more like internally focused. And if it's like during the day, I feel like I don't want to leave the house. I don't want to do any of my work. I just want to like focus on myself. And so it's great at night. And it has just been making me feel so empowered and so loved. And like it's brought my like self love to like a new height, and just like feeling good in this body. I think like for me, I struggle a lot, or I have in the past, with like coming to terms with being a human, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Being in like a physical body has not always been easy for me. I think like I'm very much so like head up in the clouds, like daydreaming, like wanting to like go back to some alien incarnations. And it's hard in the physical plane to like know that like I am just a soul having a physical experience, but still wanting that like kind of like eternal bliss, like how you were talking about like Sapo land, you know. um so I think like weed has really helped me like kind of ground back into my physical body and enjoy this physical plane more. So like when I use it as a tool, it's very helpful, but I do know that like I do have like an addictive personality, and if I'm not like monitoring it, it can start to be just like numbing.
Yeah, I hear you. And the
Yeah.
idea of like knowing what negativity it brings kind of thing in your life.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. No, for sure. I hear that.
Are you still
I
sober, or are you using cannabis?
I used cannabis 2 days ago and I used it again today. And today and again last the 2 weeks 2 days ago was solo, and it was amazing. And I've been working on my nose to try to be able to breathe better from my nose. And I did this. It had been I don't know, close to 4 weeks, and it was cold outside. And when I went outside, I went with like just minimal shirt to do the Wim Hof breathing and cold practice. And as I was going, I had the music on. I was just breathing from the nose, and I had such an incredible and profound realization that when you surrender to cold, like really, by not being scared of it and just relaxing your body and accepting the feeling of what is, it felt like my tip of my fingers and the tip of my toes, which were cold, were like roots, and were, because I was sharing the pain of like what a tree goes through when like it's cold, it just is.
Yeah.
Um, and that was amazing. Like, and I had so many more profound experience. But again, like I did it today with a friend, and today what was amazing about it is, as the friend was talking, I was giving him all of my attention, not just some, like all of it. And for a while, like he was talking about, because he was on a roll or whatever, and it was like being like I almost said Buddha, but um how did he call it? Just like a monk kind of thing, where I was just giving him all my attention and my awareness and like all of it, like not just like spiritual and physical, with like a courage of like it's weird. It's like when I grab my king, the big warrior, scary guy that she put back into me after Sapo and me, the lover kind of thing. Like when you give all of the awareness with all of your feelings, I was doing that like the entire day, and I was really enjoying how she was really reminding me on how fun it is to be here and now. Like because as I'm sober, the here and now gets really boring. And
Yeah.
so I can see like why I'm addicted to like YouTube or Facebook or something, that it's it's technology makes you be in the here and now, but there's no exchange of energy. Like you're only, but you are here and now though. Like when you're watching a video of YouTube or a Facebook post and you're browsing, like you are here and now, not in the future, not in the past, like you and your app, right? And I feel like the body loves that. When we train our body to go like to those easy things and not like the teaches, like the like meditation or just sitting quietly with yourself, or like the, I don't know, stretching to something productive, uh like that you don't want to do, like suffering kind of thing. It's yeah, so the thing with cannabis that it's so like I want it all the time, like to get those relaxation and understand like, oh, I'm cool, but at the same time I know that I could smoke all the time and I would just be tired, and what's the difference? So it's very confusing for sure.
Yeah. That's amazing though. I think like I don't know, it's definitely hard to be in the present moment. And so like I think especially for someone who has like I personally have like ADD, and it's like I think marijuana has helped so much, like ground me into the present moment. Do you feel more present when you're like sitting
No,
with her
so
or less?
not really, because cannabis and I are we're one. Like
Got it.
when I smoke, I don't feel more high. It's just the feelings are different. My mind is the same. Like my base of not of being here and now has been like constant for like I would say now 7, 8 months, where I really like it's under control. Like I don't even, it's not even hard to like thinking of the future or anything like is ridiculous. Like for me, it's just gone. Like I can never go back, and it's not something that I want to go back. I remember the chaos of having um like, because you have an inner monologue, right? And you talk to it, and sometimes it talks to you, and you have like imagination and voices and spirits,
Yeah.
right? um those voices all go away when you not when you realize that the entire illusion is not you. Like even your body is not you, and when you really accept it and your body gives up on the illusion that everything that you think about matters. Like when you stop, let's say just watching the news or letting go of your phone, when you're here and now with your family and then you go see your friends and whatever, like to you the world is perfect. Like it's weird how chaos only exists when you kind of go look for it, as if like I'm building everything and my entire illusion is just built like for me, by me. All the news is news that I would want to hear because it's the most attractive or whatever. Like it'd be this COVID situation, me traveling, like everything that I'm feeling is all an illusion. And at any point, she could start a war. She could make the moon explode for all like any type of
Yeah.
funny business. Magician could start shooting spells and all of it. Like what, wizards exist and we're under attack. Like I believe in all. Like I don't judge anything. Like it's so crazy. Like after you have an experience with ayahuasca, how can you like believe anything else than just like something I want to talk to you about. Like when you do ayahuasca, do you realize like as you're closing your eyes how focused you are on the illusion, like how crisp and like you're not distracted, you're so here and now that you open up to all these illusions in your mind? Did you like really focus on the feeling inside your mind when you're having these crazy sessions?
Um, kind of like in the beginning of pretty much like every ayahuasca ceremony, like she'll kind of come in and be like, silence your mind. And that's like when I first take it, and I just try and like still my thoughts and see like what comes up, but just kind of like not attached to any of it, just kind of watch the thoughts like float away. um but I like can tell if I'm like getting stuck in a loop, almost like where I'm like attaching too much to a certain thought, and then I'll like bring myself back to the beginning of the ceremony where I like had to silence my mind. So it's definitely been a practice for me, is just like re-silencing, regrounding, like regrouping, um and then like going back into it, but with a less like attached mindset, I guess. So sometimes I'll like see certain visuals, or I'll see like different things, and my mind gets so attached to it that it's, it's like all I can think about in the ceremony, and I almost feel like I'm not learning the full thing, which is, it's interesting because I'm like, usually in ceremonies I'm like very highly visual, where like I see so many things, but I've had ceremonies where ayahuasca just gave me no visuals, and it was all like mental, like thought downloads. And I like, I'm not going to say I prefer it, but like it definitely was a lot easier for me not to get distracted, and for me to get like stay more grounded than focusing on different visuals as the like message, I guess, if that makes sense.
No, it does. And I like how you view it. Like, you know, your strength for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I know what you mean. Like when mother talks to you, like the ayahuasca, it's like your inner monologue is so loud. I remember it like it was so obvious that it was not me telling me to get calm or whatever. Now I'm very curious to, because it's nice that you get the sometimes like you had a few times, right, where you absolutely lost control and but the ones where you get which ones are more profound? When you get just the downloads that easy, or the ones where you really get lost and
Um, I can't say either is more or less profound. I think it comes exactly when I need it and how I need it. I think, usually like my first ceremony after like a while of not working with ayahuasca is pretty like not mild, but like less visual, less intense. And then like if I do another ceremony soon after, like at Arcana, how there was like 4 ceremonies. Like the first one was pretty mild. Like I still had like visuals, but it wasn't that intense. Whereas like my third ceremony, it was like extreme anger
yeah.
and stuff like that. So I think she gives me exactly what I need in the moment. And so like I take away so many lessons from every ceremony. So it's not necessarily like more or less profound. But it is kind of like how I frame it,
I agree.
or like,
I
yeah.
agree. No, for sure. Everything is meant to be in, and yeah, like the teachings are just perfect. But my
Yeah.
question then would be like, what's your usual amount like on the first day? And like I was thinking about that the other day. Like if I go back and they ask me how much you want, like what's the go-to?
Um, Honestly, like I don't know if it's like this for everyone, but for me, like the more I've worked with ayahuasca, like the less actual medicine I need to get to the same place. It's almost like a reverse tolerance for me,
Oh,
um, where it gets like smaller and smaller. So like usually I'll start with like half of like the tiny cup, and if I go for or like if I need seconds, I will go for it. But I usually stay around like the small cup, or like less than that, every ceremony. And I've had like very like intense ceremonies, but even when I've tried a bigger dose, it doesn't necessarily change the intensity for me as much. I think it's kind of like same thing, like she'll give you exactly what you need, and if you're being called to take seconds and she tells you to, then do it. But if she's like sit with it, don't push for more, I guess.
yeah, a hundred
Yeah.
percent.
How much did you take?
The first time it was like a quarter cup. The second time was half a cup, I think. And then the third time he gave me a full cup. And then the fourth one was half a cup. And half a cup was good for the entire trip. Because I think you're right about like reverse tolerance. Arsh was telling me this. that even when he takes a quarter, sometimes that he has to puke to come back to reality to be able to help the participants.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, I didn't think about that. I'm excited. Oh, that is so super cool.
I hope borders open up soon for you guys. Maybe you can come to Peru with me.
Oh, I wish I will. I've got 2 weeks already paid. I just want. I need to.
Yeah.
So, how are you when it comes to your shame? When it comes to looking in other people's eyes and really having a confidence, like when you're making a decision and when you're talking to somebody, how often are you able to like be the person you want to be, with the shoulders back and a good attitude and with kind of mother and all of your ancestors with you, let's say?
It's really interesting that you brought that up. I feel like every time we talk, it's like major synchronicities as to like what's going on in my life currently. But last Friday, I went to my friend Jacqueline's house and she invited this guy Nikhil, which I had met like once maybe. And usually like hanging out with like a guy for the first time, like I always get somewhat on guard, and that's like just healing that I need to do, like on my like divine masculine, and like kind of balancing that out and like letting go of that fear. But we did this meditation and like a lot of it was like eye gazing, and at first it was terrifying to me to like make eye contact with someone that I didn't know, especially a man, and just sit in my power and like not be intimidated, not be like scared, but like also having like an open heart. And it benefited me so much, and since that experience, like I've been able to like make eye contact, feel very comfortable like in my own skin, and like just feeling like safe walking around, like talking to strangers. I felt super like just open since that. And like I'm obviously still like protective over my own energy. I'm not just gonna like give it out to anyone or like necessarily like have that kind of a deep like meditation just with like any stranger, but it helped me so much open up and feel more confident. And I think like especially like me now versus me a few years ago, like I've seen like the definite growth in my social anxiety, but even just recently within the past week, it's just like a new level of feeling comfortable. And obviously like everyone's going to get anxious sometimes, but instead of me claiming it as just social anxiety or me being awkward, it's like I question it now, like is my intuition telling me to stay away from this person? Is that why I'm being quiet around them, or am I nervous? And like really like reflecting on that rather than just being like, oh, I'm being weird right now, more so trusting my instincts. And yeah.
Do you have a face to your fear? Like when you talk about your fear, the feeling of fear, or even the more simpler question, do you feel like your feelings are your feelings, or are they something else that you're just seeing, or do you get attached to your feelings? Well, not attached.
um
Of course, you get attached. Like your feelings with your ego is like you guys are one, but do you see it as you, or do you see it like as those feelings are produced by the body and will die with the body? And when you get on the other side, it's like just all the feelings. Like here, it's
yeah,
a filter of the feelings that our trauma are showing us.
more so that I think they're definitely connected to the body rather than like my actual spirit. I think my social anxiety comes from fear of being physically hurt, and like something happening to my physical body rather than like a spiritual thing, I guess, if that makes sense. I don't know if I'm answering the question
No,
correctly.
I think you are. But then my next question would be, so let's say fear, your fear in general. Do you have an archetype in your mind for when that Lauren comes in, like that fearful Lauren of like being hurt, disfigured, or that loves her body, and like she has an image, she has a personality, like she's angry when she gets, I don't know, bruised or maybe punched in the face. I don't know, like afraid, you know what I mean? Do you have an archetype? Have you introduced yourself to an archetype yet for your fear? Because I was talking about that today. You remember the after my sapo ceremony, she put it all back into me. Today
Yeah.
I had the vision with cannabis of that big gorilla. I don't know if I had shown you the pictures, but and it was like traumatic actually. The flashback came back in my awareness as if like I've seen it in my trip, and I got really scared, and I kind of forgot it, and it's showing it to me today, like through the cannabis ceremony. And when I saw it, I was like, oh man, I remember you. I was scared of you. But today I saw it like holy shit, it's been a while since I thought about you, but we're one. But anyways, that monster for me looked like big arms made out of smoke, pure darkness. And you didn't see really the gorilla, but what you saw was a big monster, and it was so big and so tall that all you can see was the eyes, like far in the back. So you had the big arms at the front, and far, far back was his red eyes. And that to me was everything that I had feared, everything that I had made a decision because I was afraid, like just of everything. I was afraid of as well to fall and to get hurt. So I never really did sports. Or I was afraid of making decision or telling a girl really my feel, like all of it. And when she put it back into me, she gave it like an image. And I was talking to a friend, and his image is like a big angry bear. And then another friend, her something that she faced during a mushroom trip and MDMA was a big dog, like a dark, dark dog that was barking at her like 2 inches from her face. But she knew that it was like her part, that like she was confronting her fear. Did you ever had this experience? And if so, like, does it have a form?
Um, yes and no. So I have like a past incarnation of myself. Like I've done like some past life regressions, and I've seen this like particular one just like meditating. It's like this big like berserker Viking. And he has like this big uh like bear skin, like he's wearing like the bear's head as like a helmet kind of. And I guess like my guys were saying that that was me in a past life, and like I'll just like kind of call on that, like that image, that archetype, that like Viking scary kind of warrior when I'm feeling intimidated. Like that power is still within me, like that archetype is still me in certain ways. Obviously I don't look like that presently, but like calling on that image does make me feel empowered and strengthened. But I've also had I think it was my second trip ever on LSD. I was in John's bedroom, and I saw, like, I put my hand on the wall and it was completely black, and I had like these long claws, and I like kind of scratched the wall, and it like left like these scary like blood tracers, and like my whole body just felt like this like huge shadow monster. And I think it was kind of like you were saying, like all of your fear and trauma built up, and it was like kind of like my emotional body at that time. Like my physical body didn't look like that, but my emotional state at that time had this like physical appearance of just this like monster looking thing. And I saw it again when I was on ayahuasca, but it was sitting across from me, and I said, like, he just told me that he was leaving me, and that it wasn't a part of me anymore, or that I didn't need it. And I remember feeling like I missed it,
Mm.
like that presence of like that monster. And since then I haven't seen it come back, but I see it less as like a monster and more so as like a traumatized person that like manifested that. um yeah.
100%. And like in my awareness, that monster that she put back into me, she's like, that's you need that. And it's true, like he's my warrior. He's the guy that, like, I for me it brought me comfort to know that I was so powerful, like this big angry, like bigger than life monster was so powerful. And I knew at this point like I was safe because he had my back. But it was still like I saw him as big but afraid. Like if you're going to do any type of difficult task, or violence for love, or to be able to defend, to honor, you need to be scared, like, and the fear humbles you. And so the way from
Definitely.
yeah. And as I started to become more and more at peace with him, he became more like a gorilla, like a happy gorilla. It's like he got smaller and smaller and smaller and more friendly. And now he's like loose in my awareness. He's allowed to feel whatever he wants to feel, and I'm gonna observe it with honor. But yeah, sometimes he goes, like, it's been a while though, but like for a while when I let him loose, I was crying because it felt like he was destroying my entire awareness. Like he would go destroy these memories, and I'm like, you have fun with every part of my brain. I'm not even thinking of anything. Like I don't need anything. Have fun. And he went insane. And then a Joker appeared uh, when doing kind of a ceremony. So the Joker from well, just the Joker from Batman or whatever.
Yeah.
Went insane, and I was walking, crying with my head up, and it was amazing. Shame resilience, yay.
That's beautiful. When you are feeling fear, can you like call on that like another archetype?
Well, see, that's the thing now. Like, I'm past that. Like, I feel fear. I feel all the feelings, and if I'm here and now, let's say fear would come up more. I just It's weird. Like, it's the same. I just look at it. And the one thing, like, I was thinking, and I love your question, it makes me think, is as I'm here and now, I notice that I'm bored. And sometimes I turn to my phone and I'm like, how can I stay busy? And one of the best way to stay busy, I guess, and I wanted to talk to you about that, is making spells. Like, I love using my imagination to just make spells as I go along. Like, it is my reality. It is like an illusion from God, from Mother. And I lean into it. Like, if anybody says you're insane, of course, like, we all are. Like, I believe in everything. I believe that if I don't see it, it doesn't exist. Like, and I'm sure it does, but like, I'm gonna be a good person, and that's all that matters. And like, when I'm here and now, and I'm not on the outside, and I'm spending time with my kids, I'm just me and my kids, and it's amazing. And if I'm just spending time with my wife, it's me and my wife, and it's amazing. Like, but making spells, like, I enjoy that so much. There's a shame, in it. Like, even talking about it, like, I make spells. I'm a insane person that loves to have conversation with his archetypes, with his um ancestors, and really go insane and have a conversation. And I'm still being here and now, but like, I'm doing something productive that is super spiritual. And do you do that, like spells? Is that
All the time. Not so much spells is in like the witchcraft kind of like sense of it. I haven't learned that much about witchcraft or like
But no,
delve.
me, what I'm talking is like, as you're living, if you get an extreme emotion like shame comes up, that's an energy that wants to be looked at. And then once you look at that energy, it is an energy, and you can use it. So let's say you have extreme fear or extreme, it's the same as, well, anyways, and once that energy comes up inside of you, you're like, oh, now I need to use it. Now it's time to do a spell. And often, like, as let's say my wife would say something, and then I get this anger from the past, and I see like the injustice and whatever. I see now this energy, and instead of getting bothered, it's like, yeah, I get bothered, but then I turn the botheredness into funny. Like, just for example, I think of the awareness funny, and I convert that feeling into funny, and then I notice that my wife is gonna crack or laugh or something, and then the everything becomes better, because instead of getting attached to that feeling, I did a spell as it came up. I call it a spell, but it's like
Yeah.
morphing energies, or
Yeah. I like call it alchemizing different like feelings, if that makes sense. Like when I'm feeling like the energy of something heavy, like I can alchemize it into like something lighter or something that brings me strength. And then that way I do like spells, I guess. Um
okay, cool. I didn't know there was a term for it.
yeah, I that's just what I call it. I feel like everybody has different terms for it. But yeah, especially like when I am feeling so sad and like kind of, just like in like processing trauma. Like I let myself feel it first and like allow myself to feel whatever it needs to feel. But then after I'm done with that, it just kind of naturally alchemizes into like, okay, that's a part of my story in this life and it made me stronger. So sometimes I don't like even alchemize it in the moment. It just kind of happens.
Yeah, I noticed that if you just look at it, it's gonna happen in its own way often. Like,
Yeah.
but the pleasure sometimes of having fun with yourself as you're alchemizing is it's pleasurable. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, just to be silly kind of thing. It makes everything more light.
Yeah.
Do you do a lot of meditation?
Um, so I do like different kinds of meditation than like what most people think about when they think of meditation. I personally um like I can't just sit there and like for that long and just be fully like let my thoughts just fade away. I've done it before and it's a great practice and I'll do it occasionally, but personally like I love shamanic journeying, which is like kind of like a guided meditation, and then someone stops guiding you and you go on your own and just kind of journey, and it's very very visual to me. It feels like I'm going on like an actual journey, like an actual mission. It's like meditation but with an intention to find an answer where you're actually like seeking it out in like the spirit like realm or like in your subconscious. Whereas to me, when I think of traditional meditation, I think of sitting and trying to clear your mind of all thoughts instead of seeking out something. I also do like a lot of walking meditation where I do just try and clear my head and like silence my mind, but my body is still physically moving. I think it helps me more to be stimulated by something, whether that's walking while trying to clear my thoughts or sitting still but trying to focus on an intention. It's brought me more results and more peace, I guess, than traditional meditation techniques, if that makes sense.
Well, all three of those meditations are super awesome. Like
Yeah.
the guided meditation, I've been doing the Ram Dass one lately, and they're just
Hmm.
fun. Like he makes you transform into a Buddha and light, and then you think of somebody else and you give them the light. It's like almost like a spell. Like the emotion that arises when I'm doing these exercises are so amazing. But it all comes back to the same. It's like it's always about looking at your emotions of what your emotions and like your body sensations to be really in presence um, is the key to everything almost. And then the breath.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm going to
exactly.
record some guided meditations. I'm going to send them to you. Like my guides keep walking me through them, and then I'll like write them all down so I can like pass them on. And
Oh,
I just haven't yet, but there's a few on like shame that I want to share with you sometime.
yes, please. I love guided meditations.
Yeah.
I love them so much. Did I tell you the other day I did a guided meditation while on the bathroom, and it was amazing. The release and the purging was just so great. I've never done that before. I thought, oh, I found it. This is so enjoyable. Uh,
Yeah. That's amazing.
it was silly. Oh, man. So yeah, this kind of is stuff. It's on my mind. I'm really, really happy that it exists.
Yeah.
I love the struggle of the paradox of it all. Like everything is so paradoxical. Do you play around with paradox?
Yeah. I think I kind of go back and forth between like duality and everything, and then everything is just one. Um, it's interesting. I feel like like all of my spiritual thoughts are like somehow paradoxes or like canceling each other out. And it's, I don't know, it's fun for me.
But it happens in the sorry, it happens in the real world as well. Like paradox exists both in this 3D meat space and then in this spiritual because both of them, like, they're one, but you need to be two to be able to observe the one. And with the two, you become like, it's not like it's forever. And yeah, it makes it so easy to be here and now. Like there's nothing else but that, and the knowing like of yourself. It's so cool.
Yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely. Would you say that marijuana is like your main plant guide, or is that like the plant you feel most connected to?
Yeah, I would say it's like we are one. I've always,
Yeah.
yeah, like it's the one that taught me how to be silent mind, how to train my mind. Because when you smoke cannabis, and that's one thing, if you smoke cannabis and you don't have self-confidence and you're running away from your feelings, you're gonna want to get distracted. And I remember the inner monologue, and even like the after Peru, the teachings, they were very linear, but it was very confusing. Like she would jump from one subject to the other, and then I would get lost sometimes in what was happening because it's weed. Like you're very forgetful. It fucks around with your memory. But then after a while, every time I would smoke, I would just want to bring in the spirit of mother. Like I wanted to connect mother. And I just started looking and realizing that in my awareness and even in life, when I don't look in people's eyes or when I can't look inside my third eye, it's like I can't look at myself. And I was I was noticing that when I'm not high and I don't have confidence, I can't see myself in my imagination. But as soon as I bring confidence and, the acceptance of all of my shame, all of my fear, being with my, big scary warrior and just being here and now, I can clearly see myself in my. So it's like, because now I'm looking at myself so clearly, like that's how I feel. Like cannabis brought me here. And every time that I smoke, she's like, oh, yeah, it's enjoyable to be here with me. Because now, when you close your eyes, your feelings are very extreme. Where if I'm in the sober world without cannabis, the feelings are very mellow, like I'm calm. My body's not going through any type of trauma. I could sit and it's not extreme, I guess. And
Yeah.
yeah, and I miss the extreme. Like if I'm gonna do work, I want to extreme, I guess. But I guess that's why I want to go back to do some work with ayahuasca. That's why I want to continue doing work with the mushroom, with cannabis, and at the same time, kind of keep a balance of not being too tired. And like you say, like if you smoke in the morning, you're kind of messed up by the end of 6 o'clock,
Yeah.
all burnt out.
Do
Yeah.
you feel any calling to use Sapo again?
Yes, of course. Yes, I want to, yes, both weeks if I have to. Do you do combo every time?
I did it both weeks last time I was there, and I've been trying to find someone in Michigan that does it. Honestly, combo made my body feel so good after, like so light. I felt like I purged so much trauma, so much toxic energy, and like even physically, just like after doing that, my body felt great for a long time. And I feel like they some like people even say that it's like kind of like nature's flu shot almost, where it boosts your immune system for up to 6 months after you use it. And so I would love to use combo again.
It
So
was
I
a
think when I go to Arcana, I definitely will.
Yeah. So you got 4 burn marks right now?
I have two.
2.
So I did it both weeks at Arcana. So
Okay, good.
they,
They
yeah.
burned me twice for the one shot.
Oh, yeah. No, I only got one shot. I guess it's like,
Yeah,
I
the
don't know.
size as well matters. You're pretty bit,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
no, it was super spiritual. Like when I got up from puking so much, I saw the poster for like the first time of Justina
Hmm.
with her lightning fingers and kind of blowing a smoke, I think. And it's like she was proud of me. Like as soon as I looked up, there's a proudness that became over me, and it came from that poster. And I was like, yeah, as if I never seen that poster kind of before. But of course, I did. I chose that place, but it was like so, yeah,
Yeah.
profound. But no,
I feel.
to do all. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say that I feel really connected to Justina, even though I've never met her. But I
Yes.
felt like she was in ceremony with us.
Yeah, the poster or energy. I mean,
Hmm.
it's so fluid. It's pretty crazy. But no, I'm super called to do all of them, 100%.
Yeah.
And cannabis, like, oh yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Like, I'm out. there's a there's a deep part of me that, again, it's gonna be magical, whatever. But I feel like cannabis and mother are talking to the shaman, and the shamans are gonna bring me weed as I do ayahuasca for whatever reason. But I have this dream often, and I don't know. So it's something like, I know it supposedly it disconnects, but the way that I use it and the way I connected it to mother, I feel like there's a proudness in there, and like they interact. Like I've never had a problem with mother telling me like cannabis is not good for you, because she's the only thing in my awareness when I smoke cannabis.
Yeah. I think you could probably call her in like without
Yeah.
smoking it. Like, you could connect to that plant energy while on ayahuasca without actually, using cannabis.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was thinking, do you think sometimes, I mean, when I use my vision, let's say I get a yearning of thinking about going to ayahuasca because I miss it so much and I want to go back, and I feel limited. And my ego, well, this gorilla thing is pissed off because it's unfair. So when I allow it to break my shit, and then the vision comes in of what it's going to be like over there, just enjoying the here and now. Because my visions of the when I do a spell, let's say like my feelings are sad, so therefore I'm gonna think of something like ayahuasca to cheer me up or to make me feel good. Often I envision like the first day as like a death, like the puking, the dying, the surrendering, and meeting the dead, like going one after the other, like everything that I've been wanting from myself, I guess, to get answered for so long. um yeah, for so long, even before, like the week that we did in ayahuasca was just to heal the body and to show me kind of like, this is where you want to go when it comes to the body, and then we'll work on the mind when you come back, kind of thing.
Wow. I think it sounds like almost like it's like a death rebirth cycle, like every ceremony for you. Is
Like
that accurate?
like yeah, life all the time.
Yeah.
Yes, I've noticed, and that the thing with cannabis too that sometimes comes up is I've been doing a lot of dream work, but the way that I do it, it's weird. It's like I don't like I dream of like random things, and then I write them down and just I ponder upon it, like, and I try to see what the message is of. And one of the healings that I've had lately was around my nose and my frontal lobe. It's been hurting a lot, and I've been doing the Wim Hof breathing with my nose to be able to activate and to heal the. And plus, I ask Mother for. There's one nasal passage on the right side that is more blocked than the left one, and I really want to have good breathing from my nose. So I asked Mother to heal it. So I've been bringing my awareness to running and really breathing from the nose and blah blah blah. And one of the dreams that I had, where it was funny, I was with my father-in-law and he was with a friend, and I was in the back seat, and somehow his trailer got stuck in the ditch and we had to go ask for help. And so we went up the road and there was a house, and I got up to go ask the man for help. And as soon as I knocked on the door, he answered, but like he was pissed. He was the most pissed person I've ever encountered in my life. Like he was so angry at the prospect of coming to help us for the trailer. And in my mind, I was like, hey, I didn't say it, but I remember like feeling, hey, relax, it's all good. Like, I understand where you're coming from. You're super frustrated and you don't have to help us if you don't want to. And I was very calm, but he got up, went into his tractor, went super pissed all the way to the where the trailer was in the ditch. He, saw a branch and he grabbed the trailer with his hand, and he was so angry that he just threw it on the road and it reattached the car like super smooth. And I remember again, like looking at him, it's like, wow, you're so angry. Like, holy shit. I like it must suck to be you. Like I just like a respect for him of like, thank you for helping, but man, you're pissed. And he just took the tractor and he left. And when I woke up, I was like, wow, like that was weird. Why would I even dream of that? And then that day, my nose started to bleed. And I noticed that like I was more patient with my wife. I was more like anger did not bother me. And during the day, I noticed like, oh, motherfucker, it's like she took my anger, the thing that I had trouble separating, showed it to me in a dream through this guy, this archetype that was so fucking pissed, and kind of made me surrender, let it go. So now when it comes in my awareness, it's like, oh, it's just a feeling, just like any other. And like, I don't feel upset to be upset anymore. And a dream brought that to me. And if I smoke cannabis every day, do you still dream at night? Supposedly it removes your REM sleep.
Yeah, when I smoke, I don't remember my dreams. So like that's why I don't like smoking every night before bed, because so much of like my healing comes from dreams, like especially like the one you just said. Like it sounds like she showed you exactly like your anger, but like from a different viewpoint, like just kind of like an objective viewpoint, so you could like judge that or
Yeah,
like see that without necessarily connecting it to yourself in that dream and then realizing it in the morning that it was your archetype. Like I've had so many dreams like that bring up like profound stuff like that, that like I need my dream time. So I can't smoke every night just because it just like, even though it makes my body feel good and it makes me feel present in the moment, it does kind of take out like the astral travel for me.
100%. That's one thing that's keeping me going to like really do it like if I like, what would you suggest? Like one every 4 days, 5 days? But I'll have to ask my guides anyways for that. Um, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, about the like the dreams. Um, do you have like a notepad just beside your bed? How do you remember? Because I have, let's say, like 3 to 4 per night, and as I wake up, often I didn't set it up in the last few days, and I've been like distracted. But do you have a notepad to write like a little bit, or are you good at remembering?
Yeah, I write down. So I do have a journal where I like journal all of, I don't know, like any like profound thing, any like thing that I need to remember, I'll write it in my journal. Any like meditation, I'll write down everything I saw. In the morning, like if I don't want to get out of bed, my phone is usually like somewhere close to my bed, not like right next to it, but closer than my notebook usually is. So I'll write them down in my like notes app. But sometimes if my journal's like by my bed, I'll actually like sit up and write it, but it's easier for me to just type it out in the morning. But I find like as I'm typing like one out, like I'll start
Yeah.
to remember different details from the other ones I had like throughout the night. Like sometimes I'll only remember the first one, or like the one that's most recent, and then as I'm writing it, I'm like, oh, this came before it. So
Yeah, I've
yeah.
been waking up like 4 or 5 times a night. Like after each dream, I actually wake up now, and it's been, I don't know if I trained myself to do that, but it's cool to remember each dream because you have
Yeah.
like it's not just one or two. It's crazy how it's like I think, oh, this is so obvious, I'm gonna remember that, and then on the third dream in, I'm like, ah, fuck, now I'm gonna start writing them because I forgot the first one. Like, it's so weird. But yeah, it's super powerful. I never, and even though I'm not lucid dreaming, I really like that it's often based on the events of my day, which makes me feel like even more purpose. Like everything that I'm shown during the day, it be good or bad, is really cool. And it's gonna make me dream in a specific way at night that is just for me. And I really appreciate the work.
That's beautiful. Do you journal them all?
Usually I record them
Yeah.
in a podcast or whatever. But yeah, I do like they're in it's like keywords basically. I wake up in the
Yeah.
middle of the night and I just write like big keywords, and sometimes I write over other words because it's pitch black, and I'm just like it's a pencil and a notepad. And because
Since you start, oh sorry.
I don't know, did I start what?
um since you've started like recording them or like journaling them, do you feel like you get like deeper messages in your dreams or like more vivid realizations at all?
Yeah, and every moment, it's really cool. Like every moment, every day, it's like a new lesson. It's like life is magical. Even though I'm really bored sometimes, and sobriety, like just to have dreams at night, can be boring, especially when you have like a lot of tasks and you just need to do them and you do it with honor. And like tonight when I came back and I did the dishes, it was nice. Like it was quiet in the house and I was able to really enjoy the process of doing the work, like even if it's doing something physical, because that's doing the work as well. Spiritual and physical kind of go together. So like as I was doing the work, which is being here and now with the dishes and not thinking of anything else but what the dishes were showing me and the feelings that I was feeling as I was doing the dishes, um it always like there's always like a, how do you call that, a subject during the day. Like today's healing is this, and you're going to be focused on this kind of for a day or two, and then you're going to move on to the next one. And then sometimes it goes back, like today, to revisit my big archetype, like the sight of it. Like I remember in my third merit ceremony when she put it inside of me, how scared I was that it became a trauma. And today I processed, um, the trauma of that image during the third ayahuasca ceremony. Like I was so scared of it, but it was cool. So today's subject is like here and now, and being one with the ego, and really saying thank you for all decisions I make, even the boring one, like the most boring one. It's like being so thankful.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's awesome. You kind of like get like an assignment every day.
pretty much. Or like for a week or so, and it's
Yeah,
my entire life is this. I don't want to do anything else.
yeah.
It's yeah. Do you have other hobbies? Like you have yoga, I guess, but that's the same kind of very spiritual as well.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to my friend Jacqueline about this today. It's like I'm just so devoted to being of service and being a healer. So any modality that like calls out to me that my guides are like, go do this, I'm like, all right, send me there. Like I'll do it.
Yeah.
Um, like I'm just like very devoted to my spiritual work, but just like living up to my highest potential. So even if it's like something that's not seemingly spiritual, if I feel like it has a greater purpose, like I'm going to do it. And in that way, like I do get like these little assignments, like even if it's like, okay, post on Instagram about like your business stuff, like follow your passions and like actually pursue them. It's like, okay, I'll be here. And then like if I get led like, oh, you need to go to Florida at this date, like I'll just book it because I'm like, it feels right.
I love that. And
Yeah.
it's nice that, like, do you talk to other people about that? Like, does your family know that you're spiritual like this? Because I love it, the no shame aspect of it. That's what I'm looking for. Like, it's like the servitude. Like, I don't mind to saying it out loud now. Like, yeah, I am in servitude of Mother and
Yeah.
this purpose of, yeah, thinking about
Yeah.
God, Mother, or little tasks, like you say, spells or feelings, being there with my ego and believing both, that, yeah, it's important. Like hard work is important and spiritual work is important, and love, basically. Surrender. Look.
Yeah. 100%. Like I think I used to hide my spirituality a lot and kind of be ashamed because I didn't want people to think I was just like all like hippie woo woo, you know? But now it's like, this is my life. This is who I am. It's such a big part of me. I can't hide it because I'm doing myself a disservice and everyone else who meets me while I'm not being 100% authentic. Like they're not meeting the real me. And so like, I've just committed myself to like speaking my truth and saying what's on my mind, and like for a long time, like I took like a year kind of like while I was like sober and celibate, like almost not like fully isolated, but really like so many people kind of dropped out of my life, and it's for the best, really. Like now the people that are in my life and the new people that are coming in are super spiritual. They are, you know, they do respect my beliefs, and like they are kind of on that same wavelength. And like, I don't know, it's the more you speak your truth, I think the more you manifest people that are similar into your life. And so it's a lot easier to speak your truth. It just becomes like, oh, this is who I am. I'm surrounded by so many other people doing the same, and it's just, it gets easier, if that makes sense.
No, it does. It's just no, I love it. Speaking your truth is a weird statement when I think about it, because it's so paradoxical, right? Like what is, but I feel like you should express your truth when it comes to surrendering kind of thing. And like at the general teaching of everything is perfect. Like if you say your truth with the idea that, you know, like everything's perfect and everything is a teaching, and yes, it sucks and it hurts. And, you know, but like there is a purpose. Let's not attack, you know, let's not, you know, like, yeah, sit with it. That idea, then 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the hardest thing. Because for me to say my truth when I'm insecure is bad. I'm gonna hurt so many people. Like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that, yeah, I meant more so like my spiritual truth, as
Yeah.
in like what I actually am passionate about. But like, I agree, if I'm like definitely, you know, feeling so much anger, if I say everything on my mind, you know, that's just not good for anybody.
Yeah, exactly. Then yeah, it's a good release. It's a good purging, but there's times and place. You know,
Yeah,
that's what
definitely.
it's the same with cannabis. Like, oh, if you can do it like the once a week, man, it's so magical. Like, it's really as crazy as a mushroom trip. Like, it is insane.
Oh
The
yeah.
the amount of download and you can just have in a moment. Like that's one thing I was thinking about that. Like you can see, let's say you're one of these old people that is all about the material world life and you're concerned about the news and your spirituality is out of your life. Well, you know, my parents are kind of this type of person, like very productive, everything's very beautiful, but they care and they're stressed and the news and Trump and like, oh my God. To today when I was at the park, you know, doing the cannabis ceremony with a friend, we were like laughing and enjoying the truth of the universe of like, you know, nothing matters, everything matters. And you know, like when you're high and a person is saying their truth, you know, and that's really like they're saying their truth to the through the medicine and they're vibing. Like this is, I can see myself at 65, 70-year old still doing that, like, and just
Yeah.
laughing my butt off, being spiritual, happy. And like if you want to dance right now and do a jig right in front of me, I support you. I love you. Like whoever I'm giving my attention to, it doesn't matter, stranger or friend. Like you go right ahead. Like I love you for you. Like we can all change right now if we want. So whatever,
Yes,
like whatever you did in the past, let it go. It's all good. Like spirituality all the way.
I agree 100%.
Yeah, super excited. All right. Oh man, that's cool. I'm losing my voice a little bit. Well, it's been an hour, and so do you have anything yet to kind of finalize? That was so cool, by the way. Like talking to you.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I was like a little bit tired on this one.
Don't
But
ever.
this has been a great conversation. I feel really great. I feel like I spoke my truth.
Yes,
So thank you so much for having me again.
that's a pleasure. I love you so much.
I love you too.
All right, see you later.
All right, bye.